I didn't think we'd be doing one of these for a while, considering the state of modern and the excessive amount of free spells, but what we have here is a amalgamation of the old Niv-Mizzet Hating Lands deck combined with a combination of a new deck. So one thing I noticed recently is there's been a few decks popping up where Kiora the Behemoth Beckoner has been played in zoo lists, specifically as an engine with General Furious Roderick. If you don't know, General Furious Roderick is 1 in the Boros for a 3/1 legendary human soldier, hexproof from monocolored, and whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you create a 4/4 red-white golem artifact creature token. Protection from monocolored, super relevant, protects him from basically all of the removal, most of the removal, in the format, since many people are leaning heavily on the evoke elementals and all their BS free spells. In addition to that, though, a lot of decks are using efficient things like prismatic, ending, lightning bolt, push, well, not so much push anymore, but you know what I mean. Single color removal. The key thing here is General makes a 4/4, and Kiora Behemoth Beckoner's static ability is, if a 4/4 enters the battlefield, we draw a card, which is insane if we can get these two online together. So that's what this deck is built around. We have 3 copies of each in the main deck. Aside from that, we're running the standard Bring to Light Niv-Mizzet package, so Niv-Mizzet, you know what it does if you know this channel. But if you don't, top 10 reveal, find one of each guild card to put it into your hand. We're running that with the Bring to Light package. Bring to Light basically lets us choose for a CMC sorcery, creature or instant equal to the number of colours that we spent on the mana, so ultimately we Bring to Light, grab Niv, reload our hand, as our music often suggests. Now, the key thing with this deck is we're running an interactive low-S package with Territory Kavu. We're basically running a huge sweep of non-basic type lands, so easily a 2-mana 5/5 on turn 2. It also has 2 abilities on attack, discarding and draw and exiling a card from the graveyard. 2 very relevant abilities, we'll probably see that in gameplay come forward. We have Helix for life gain and removal, an Abrupt Decay and a Dreadbore just to balance things out. This list isn't finalized, I'm still working on it, hence this rushed video. Besides from Niv, we have another closer in Omnath, Locus of Creation, 4 mana, 4/4, enters the battlefield, and then landfall. First land we play gives us 4 life, second land gives us 4 mana, third land domes everything for 4. Very rare that we'll get all 3 land drops here, but you know, a fetch land, gain 4 life, very relevant card, and another good hit off Bring to Light. Now the key package we're running here is running Fire to Ice, Vindicate, and Shadow of Doubt. Shadow of Doubt plays Constellation Libraries, we draw a card. Vindicate destroys a permanent, and Fire does 2 damage divided how we choose, or Ice, the more key thing here is tap a creature, attack a permanent, draw a card. So we want to use this slew of 10 cards here to disrupt our opponent's Ice to tap down a land in their upkeep so they don't have mana, Vindicate to snipe a land if we can, and Shadow of Doubt in response to their fetch lands, but also Shadow of Doubt cycles itself, so we're built around multicolour, so just sniping a fetch land is great, cycling this to draw a card, cycling this to get a 4/4, it all works out. With Kiora's untap ability and the fact that a lot of our mana is pretty 2 or more, I'm running a playset of Utopia's rules to basically turbocharge our turn 2, hopefully. Ideally we'd want to drop a General as fast as possible, or Kiora if we can, or maybe hold up a Shadow to screw with our opponent if possible, but that's how it is. We're also running 3 copies of Glittering Wish because I love this card and I love wish cards, as everyone knows. Glittering Wish lets us pull a multicolored card from our sideboard and put it into our hands. So let's jump to that sideboard. First thing you'll notice, there's no companion. Adding Shadow of Doubt means that we can't run Gigantha, Yorian's Band. I won't go into that rant again. So, our sideboard is divided as such. We have the 4 copies of the General and the Kiora here. This is primarily so that when we are playing the game, if we draw, for example, General and a Glittering Wish, we can wish for the other half of the engine to get that going. We have Clothis here for life gain graveyard hate. She's a maybe, I haven't called her out yet. We have a Culling Ritual and a Deafening Clarion for board wipes. We have an Immisit for late game. For example, if we rip a Glittering Wish after a board reset in the late game, we could just fire this out and reload. And then we have a slew of spot removal, counter spells, enchantment removal, counter spell, spot removal, module card graveyard hate, and something to snipe combo decks. All in all, it's a fun list that leans in two different directions. So what we kind of want to do is, early game is set up Disruption, then pivot into our engine, and then into our late game. And Wish, as we can see here, is kind of the bridge between things here. So Glittering Wish can either be our, as you see here, our copies for our engine, it can be a key piece of removal / snipe, or it can be our late game engine as required. So we'll show some gameplay after this. We've got commentary, we'll keep going. Besides that, we've got 23 lands, running full play sets of fetch lands, Mesa, 3 copies of Pillar of the Peroons just for fixing. We didn't go the full 4 because we need land types for Territorial Karvu. Because you also got to remember, if Karvu comes down with a Kiora on the field, that can trigger her static if you've covered enough land types. Basically every creature that we run mainboard, with the exception of the General, for obvious reasons, triggers Kiora if she's on the field. So we can establish a pretty insane engine if we get things going. So now we're running a set of Triomes to get things going, a lot of shock lands to keep us in the game, and yes, that is the deck. So please enjoy these gameplay videos. I'll put a couple that we did, the engine did its sting. We got blown out by a few Modern Horizons 2 decks that were just way too strong, so we won't include those. Please enjoy.
Reload!
Reload!